So we all know that lamination is really popular right now with getting that fluffy, brushed up brow look. But it's not always easy when your brows are really stubborn. So sometimes you need that helping hand to really break down the bonds in your hairs to make them more manageable. I've been working on an EyebrowQueen lamination kit for around a year now. I've developed a really gentle solution that's professional grade but easy enough for you to use at home. Now, because it is a chemical process, I would always say if you're a beginner to lamination or uncertain of whether it's right for you, then to always go and have them done professionally. Likewise, if you have very weak eyebrow hairs, then remember the chemical process will damage the hair to a certain extent, and this may not be suitable for you. Saying that, my EyebrowQueen lamination kit is a lovely gentle formula which is really kind to the hairs, so it won't break or frazzle your brows, providing you follow the instructions that are on the back of the box. The way lamination works is that the chemicals we use break down the bonds in the hair. The bonds are like little links along the hair, and then when we break them down, we can reposition them into a new structure and shape. Lamination lasts between 4 to 12 weeks depending on the speed of your hair growth cycle. Our hairs are continuously falling out and replacing themselves at different rates without us really noticing. So as a laminated hair falls out, a new one will grow in its regular direction. And this is why lamination doesn't last forever. The EyebrowQueen Pro Lift Lamination Kit comes with enough product to do 5 treatments. It comes with 5 sets of lamination solutions, 5 micro brush applicators, 5 spoolie brushes, and 5 mixing discs. And it also comes with a conditioning serum. All you need to add to this is a timer, some dry and wet cotton pads, and some cotton buds. You must always do a patch test before you do any chemical process to your eyebrows, just like you would eyebrow dye. I advise you do your patch test 48 hours before every treatment. And this is important because your body can develop allergies to product anytime, even if you weren't allergic the first time. So to do a patch test, you need to patch test both solutions that you're going to use. So take your treatment sachet and just snip the corner, take the tiniest amount of each solution and just place one behind each ear. You need to leave this product on for at least an hour and ideally overnight, and then check for the reaction the next day. If you see or feel any irritation or redness, you must not proceed with this treatment. Just rinse the area with cold water, and if it gets worse, seek medical advice. Now you can save this solution to do your treatment, so just fold over the top and seal that with some tape. So you can use that 48 hours later. First of all, make sure that your eyebrows are free of any makeup and oils. Now brush your eyebrows upwards so that they're ready to be laminated. Step 1 solution is going to break down the bonds in your hair so we can restructure and reposition your natural hair growth. First of all, take a tiny amount of step 1 and pop it onto the mixing disc. You don't need a lot for lamination, so just a small pea-sized amount is enough. Now take your micro brush and apply a tiny amount of this product onto each brow. You don't need to use a lot, but just make sure all the hairs are covered. Once you've applied the solution to your hairs, just remove any excess product from the skin around the edges. And now we need to set our timer. Step 1 needs to stay on for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how strong your hairs are. The weaker your hairs, the less time you'll need. The stronger the hairs, the longer you'll need. If you have really stubborn hairs, you may need that extra minute or so. You must not forget to time this treatment. It's vital that you do so. If you over-process your brows, they can break and become frazzled, so it's really important that you keep an eye on it all the time. You should notice that your hairs are starting to soften and lay a little bit flatter during this part of the treatment. I actually think it's really important, even though you're timing this treatment, to keep an eye on it visually. If you see any hairs that are starting to over-soften or lay really flat to the skin, or they're looking a little bit frazzled, then you need to remove it immediately. If you feel they aren't softening quickly, then you can actually give them a helping hand by using the stick of the brush and pressing firmly onto the skin. And that will just help them to lay a little bit flatter and really get that solution under the hairs. I'm going to remove this product now. I'm going to use dry cotton bud or cotton wool and just gently scrape that away, just rolling the bud upwards, or with the dry cotton pad. So now it's time to neutralise step 1. So we're going to use step 2, dispense a small amount onto your disc again, apply step 2 to the brows. So you're looking at the same amount of product. What step 2 will do is now allow us to set those bonds into a new position. We need to allow this to develop for the same amount of time that we allowed step 1 to work. This is the stage that will set our brows into place, so I need to just give them a little brush to make sure they're in the position that I want them to be. Generally it's upwards at the front, and you may like that look where they're quite upwards at the ends, but you don't necessarily need to have that look. You can knock them down as well if you want to. Now it's tempting to keep combing them at this point, but I advise not to. The reason being, it's the same as when we get out of the shower and our hair's wet and we brush it. We're going to stretch that hair and almost give it a curl and frazzle it. A little bit like when you use a ribbon and some scissors to create those curls. That's exactly what will happen to the hairs, so it really is damaging to them. For stubborn hairs, I like to use my EyebrowQueen lamination brush. It's a fine-tooth metal comb and it has a plastic bridge here. So it really is great for getting into those hairs, separating all of them, even the ones that are underneath the brows, all those little fluffy ones. So it's really great for lifting and separating those hairs. If I have any stubborn hairs, then I'm going to take the plastic guard, I'll comb through gently, and then I'm going to use the plastic guard and press it onto the skin, and that will just give me that helping hand for them to stay upright a little bit more. I'm using dry cotton wool. I'm always going to brush that product upwards. And now I'm going to just go over them with some damp cotton wool, just to make sure I've got rid of everything from the brows. Now you can see that my hairs are much softer. They're not stuck completely down to the skin, but they're just softer and more manageable. What is really important is that you condition the brows, because the hairs are much more porous and weaker. So using the serum from the kit, just apply that and brush through your brows twice a day, just to keep them nourished. Because lamination softens the hair, when you wake up in the morning, they can look a little bit unruly. So it's really important to brush them into place every day. You need to allow a minimum of 4 weeks between each lamination treatment, just so we don't over-process the hairs. If you are allergic to the lamination process, you can use the EyebrowQueen Brow Fix to get the same effect.